Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff, Lee McCulloch and Tam McManus here with me in the studio, and here's what's coming up.
Rangers boss Philippe Clement fumes over red card challenge that could see John Lundstram sidelined until after the winter break.
It's another player who's kicked off the pitch, so I'm really frustrated about that.
Barry Robson vows he will do all he can in a bid to keep Bojan Miovski at Aberdeen beyond the January transfer window.
No, we'll just have to say today if he's not allowed to go.
David Martindale reveals avoiding relegation with Livingston this season would top taking the club to a cup final.
This will be my biggest achievement in my sporting career if I can keep Livingston in the Premier League this year.
And Liam Scales warns Celtic must take the bull by the horns in a bid to get their title defence back on track after 2 straight defeats.
Yeah, lots to talk about. Look back at a couple of games in midweek and look ahead to the festive period and some cracking games and some breaking news to talk about as well that will get the opinion of our panel. Don't forget, if you enjoy the programmes throughout 2023, there's even more coming in 2024. You hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel and you can become part of the football family. And if you download the app, you'll get all the breaking news at your fingertips. And right now, we've got a brilliant special between Martin O'Neill and Alex McLeish here in the studio previewing the Old Firm derby on the 30th of December. Great getting the two legends in, and you got to see your old boss?
Yes, brilliant to see him again. He's living down in London now, but 15 I think I was, 16-year-old, that's when I obviously first met him as a manager. Yes, tremendous man, as you know.
Absolutely, great lad, and getting the two of them, Ruffy, it was just brilliant. It was like rolling back the years, two Old Firm managers together discussing their clashes and looking ahead to the big one.
Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about being managers of football clubs, but for they two to be Rangers and Celtic, they must have tons of stories to tell about, like it is standing in that touchline with everything, the meddling that's going on round about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Meddlem is even worse than Bedlam. Meddlem is a level above that. And that kind of sums up 2023. Just a whole new dictionary that Ruffy's bringing out, and you can get it in your Christmas stocking for your friends or your family. So. With that in mind, let's talk about the first thing is the news coming out, a new innovation for Sky Sports in Scotland for the Hibs Hearts game. They've been planning this, they've been working away in the background, and I have been privy to it before when I was at Sky when they were trying to do this, but they've taken it to a whole new level with this one, Ruffy. Head coach Nick Montgomery will wear a microphone during the match. That will enable the fans watching at home to hear his specific coaching from the sidelines. He'll also speak to the commentary team as the game's ongoing. And alongside this, Sergio Raimundo will wear a body cam to give you that first-person perspective of the team on the pitch. That's from the dugout as well. There's going to be a camera in the Hibs dressing room, pre-match, half-time and full-time. And obviously Hearts are in and they've agreed to some access as well. And there's going to be at full time on the pitch interviews. So brilliant, really innovative. There are a few downsides to it, which I'll highlight to you shortly. But what do you make of that?
Well, it seems to be a lot more Americanised now. We're getting to. I do think that the fans should be brought on board a lot more. You know, I think we've moved on. I think just turning up at a football game and watching it or watching in a house, things have definitely moved on. I just think they're 15 years too late. They could have used John Lambie as a pilot for this. Just get thrown right out the window.
Yeah, because the only thing I can think of with the body cam is Davy Provan used to say, Neely Mockin used to go out to the edge of the pitch and shout, Provan, you 5 minutes, you're off. Get your acting in.
That's out a few times.
So the body cam's going to be interesting, isn't it?
It's going to be brilliant. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing it. I just found it there, as you were saying. It's good. It's modernising it. I quite like the concept of it. I would prefer if it was officials for the TV viewers, but hopefully that comes next. But I'm quite looking forward to watch this and see the manager's take under pressure, what he says, what he does. Is he going to explain his substitutes? Is that, I'm bringing this guy off because he's been terrible today, or I'm bringing this guy off because he does this every week and he's really starting to annoy me, and now in the January window I'm going to sell him. Like, you don't know. Sometimes when you get in that environment, you can say and do things that you don't naturally do. So he's wide open.
Yeah. Tam, what's your take?
I like it, Peter. I think it's going to be great. I think that he's obviously used to doing that in Australia. I've watched a lot of Australian games, and they interview the managers at the side of the pitch. Players. It's, as Ruffy said, it's becoming more and more prevalent in the game. I think it'll be interesting, as Lee said, they're under pressure. How they react. I think the Hibs supporters will be quite happy with it now. I think if Hibs get beat, they'll be saying, "We don't ever do that again." I think it's great. I think it's great for the supporters to see it on the TV and to get an insight of what happens in a dressing room, what happens on a bench, what managers say. And fair play to Nick Montgomery for agreeing to it. It's one of those things where he could come across really, really well, or he could come across not so good. So he must have confidence in himself that he's a good coach and he's able to go and give instructions without swearing a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing it and hearing it.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the downside to it. From a broadcaster's point of view, I have with a really good team of people at Sky in Scotland before, worked with them on the basis of can we get cameras in to the dressing room, for the build-up and that. Just give it a nice little 10, 20 seconds of it. The downside is if you get to a situation where someone, and it can happen, and obviously it has happened, if you get a situation where they show something which is sensitive, and that sensitivity, maybe a player getting bollocked or whatever, that is then put out to broadcast, that compromises the situation. For the player, it makes it difficult. For the manager, the fans then seize upon it. So I think that's difficult. I think you have to be very careful about what your editorial content is. The second thing I don't like the Nick Montgomery mic'd up. I think it compromises his situation as a manager. I think it's almost like we don't know the finite details of it, but it's almost pre-staged. It takes away the naturality of what a manager's job is. His job is being focused on the pitch, not talking to, with all due respect, a commentator.
Be more careful what you say, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. He's confining himself to almost like pre-staged comments, premeditated comments rather than any real life situation. I understand where it's coming from in a real life situation, but I think it compromises his position, and I think he should be more on get on with the job. I like the fact referees mic them up, get them calmed up. Let's see that. That's part of the game. They don't need to go this far. I'm glad they're making a go of it and trying to really push the boundaries. The only thing that I would say that they really should be doing is just take a leaf out of what Sky Sports in England are doing, what BT Sport or TNT Sports is doing. Get them on the pitch. Get them chatting. Players are warming up, get one over. Manager walks onto the pitch, Ange Postecoglou, centre of the pitch, talking to Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher or whatever. Yeah. Great, do that. But I think there's just this little bit now where, and by the way, remember, we live in a society where social media, you've got all the crackpots want to jump on the least little thing that they think is, a sensitive situation. Brigade. The woke team, on you go. The players and the fans that are unhappy they've lost the derby, boom, steam in. He's talking about this, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You'll have all of that rubbish that's bringing pressure on him.
But what about the staunch Hibs fans or the young coaches out there that want to try and get better and learn? The Hibs fans that want, it's like access all areas. I think they'll take to it. I think it could be quite a good thing going forward. It's a great thing. It's like the invention of the internet. All the positives are there. The negatives are when you're not doing well. Of course. Do you know what I mean? And then it turns, and then people turn on you. Could have said
I think it's great. And by the way, he's one of the nicest guys you could ever wish to meet.
I think that's why they picked him. He seems to come over as quite a...
don't pick Derek Adams.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Mother of God, I wish I was back at Morecambe.
I think people will be interested, touchline, trackside, when the manager's thinking about a substitution and he calls the assistant over, what do you think? I think we'd all be in that board, what's on that board, who's doing this, and you can imagine the discussions, the Hibs Hearts game, just say it was Tam, right, we're struggling a wee bit, did we put McManus on? They went, no, he's not getting on at all.
You know what?
Leave him there.
Leave things like that.
Can you imagine?
I've got 6 subs, but it doesn't matter.
Tom, can you imagine David Martindale mic'd up?
I'd love
Oh, it'd be fantastic. Davey is absolutely
Well, Rab
fantastic.
McGlinchey for tune the fat.
Oh,
I think the dangerous bit is after the game. If they're getting into the dressing room right after a game when, say, Hearts score in the last minute and, you know, the things that are said in the dressing room, and some of them are very vocal.
Are they
you know.
walking into the dress, or will they just have a camera?
they'll
up
have
the corner?
they'll have a camera in the corner.
do you see-
There may well be a pre-staged part where they walk into the dressing room and they're going round and they'll see but it won't be anything. It'll be super sensitive to an extent, but just giving you that image of, by the way, you've got an inside track here. But there are things that, listen, I hope they get it right. I really do hope they get it right, because at least for the first time in a long time, 10 years too late in my opinion, but at least this time, you know, in Scottish football, they're making an effort to try and glitz it up.
Peter,
So-
as soon as I seen that today, my mind drifted back to January 2003, Hearts 4, Hibs 4. And we were 4-2 up with 2 minutes to go. And Graham Weir scored 2 and Bobby Wilson came in after the game. He would get 10 years in the jail for what he nearly done to Yannick Zambernardi for selling the goals. So it wasn't back then when Bobby was the manager.
Yeah, listen, it would be you know, really box office, but I have my doubts on certain aspects of it. But if it's all pre-staged, great. I think the referees and explaining their decisions and VAR, that's the body cam and all that. They did actually have the body cam on an English referee in an Arsenal match, and Tony Adams wasn't aware of it, and he was effing blinding at the players and the ref and everything. And I think when eventually they said to him, by the way, Tony, you know this was the big news prior to the game that the referee was going to do Mike Topney. I think he went white. He couldn't believe it. Anyway, that's just one. Give us your thoughts. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's innovative? Do you think it's progressive? Is there any downsides to it in your mind? Give us your view on that in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you on it. Super League to relaunch after the High Court ruling. The European Court of Justice, Ruffy, has ruled that UEFA and FIFA acted unlawfully in blocking the Super League launch in 2021. So it looks as if the UEFA monopoly is over, according to A22, which is the company which is obviously trying to launch this. So we're now in a situation where we're just waiting on their new brand and who's going to jump on board. Now, a lot of people have quickly put their name to, we're not jumping on board. But as ever, the great thing about life, Ruffy, greedy people will jump on board, and needy people who are in so much debt, they have to go for it.
Yeah, every club will be weighing up, you know, if we put our name to this, you know, against what we are getting in the Champions League or the Europa, are we going to benefit? Because it's just financial. And it's alarming that the two people that are driving it are Barcelona and Real Madrid, who are both skint and really in debt to whatever. You know, they'll want a part of it. They'll want to be greedy, as you say. But I think it's quite positive. There are a lot of countries are saying, no, we don't want that. We've got a good TV deal. We've got this, we've got that. So what we're interested in is what does our big two want to do? What are their thoughts? You know, where, I mean, we saw that you posted the figures last week of what Rangers got out of the Europa and what Celtic got out of Champions League. So they'll have to balance that up. You know, is that money we're going to get every year, or what are we going to get if we jump into this? But for me, it's the fixture side. You know, everybody's talking about players are playing too much just now, so that's just going to make it worse.
Yeah, and you can't have one and the other, Tam. You can't do the live golf situation where you're saying, but we still want to be involved in the majors, and we still want to be involved in the Ryder Cup.
No, you can't do it. The live golf is just, I don't think anybody watches it. I don't think anybody's interested in it. The players are just taking the money and going and playing for live. So no, that's got to be one of the other, Peter, right? And Ruffy hit the nail on the head there. It's Barcelona and Real Madrid who were 10, 15 years ago were the kingpins. You know, all the best players are going to Spain. All the best players are in everything. And Barcelona are miles off it now. Real Madrid are still winning thereabouts, but Barcelona are miles away from winning the Champions League again. So they're the two that's probably driving it to get that money and try and compete with English teams.
Don't fancy it, but it will gather pace, and I bet you it happens.
Money dictates, isn't it? Root of all evil.
Yes.
If your club's struggling, if you're at the club and it's struggling, you're going to probably need to go look at this. You live is a great analogy for it. The golfers are getting 400 million quid to go and still play golf, but just a different tournament. So I could see it happening as well.
Yeah. And knowing the footballer you were in your day, if the Liv team had said to you, by the way, you want to come to us, but
Who's the Liv team?
Just the Liv. If it was a Liv football,
FC.
if it was a Liv football at that time, and you were Lee McCulloch, and you knew your wife wouldn't be able to drive in that country, but you could still, crack on.
I'd have stayed. I wouldn't have went.
Yeah. Yeah. Bullshit. Anyway, let's crack on.
No, it's how Peter never even asked me.
No, there's no point in asking you two. I've been with you that long. I'd be like that. Ruffy, where are you? Ruffy. Old Firm bands. No Rangers fans at Parkhead for the game. I think we all knew that was going to be the situation. There was no away fans at the fixture at Ibrox, and as well as the 2 games before that. Celtic have turned down 708 tickets for Ibrox due to the safety concerns, and of course Rangers put their case forward, but it's just not going to happen.
It's sad, Peter. It really is. It's got to get fixed. You know, they've got to get in the table, Celtic and Rangers, and get the away fans back in. You know, 700 fans. What's the point in that? It's pointless. And there is safety issues. You know, for 700 fans away from home, whether that's at Ibrox or Parkhead. So they've got to get around the table, because it's definitely missing that. You know, the recent derby game where Celtic won 1-0 at Ibrox, when the goal went in, there was just silence, and it's not great. It's their flagship game. It's Sky's flagship game, and you know, to see maybe 6,000 or 7,000 at Parkhead away fans, Rangers fans, and then that whole stand at Ibrox for Celtic fans adds colour and noise to the fixture. So they've got to sort it out, Peter, one way or the other. They've got to get their heads together and get this, because it's not helping anybody, I don't think.
This is what Rangers had to say on the ban and the fact that none of their fans will be there. Despite winning a case to put an SPFL board subcommittee, Rangers, with extreme disappointment, will not have any supporters present at Parkhead for the Old Firm match on December 30th. The subcommittee agreed with Rangers that Celtic's stance of providing 0 tickets to Rangers fans was unreasonable. Despite this, the subcommittee was unwilling to determine what a reasonable number of tickets for the fixture would be. The subcommittee was unable to determine this reasonable number due to the fact that the other party had not submitted enough evidence on this issue, despite having ample opportunity to do so. That was the first part of it. And then Rangers' position has always been clear on this. We want away fans from all clubs at our stadium and wish for that to be reciprocated when we travel to other grounds. It is grossly unfair that if a club fails to submit sufficient evidence as part of such proceedings, it effectively ties the hands of the subcommittee in being able to determine what a reasonable number of tickets should be. The club will consider its position before participating in any further SPFL-led hearings, which just basically said the SPFL committees have got no power in this, quite simply. Celtic and Rangers can dig their heels in at any point and just to hell with what any subcommittee. That was just a waste of time. Celtic's statement on this whole issue. Given the recent serious safety and matchday issues which our fans have experienced at fixtures at Ibrox and Celtic Park, Celtic's position on this matter has been very clear. Celtic welcomes the opportunity to seek to resolve these important issues, and it was a hearing for which the club was very well prepared. We are pleased that the subcommittee recognised the importance of safety and matchday experience issues in considering the question of a reasonable allocation for both fixtures. And they go on to say, while respecting the ongoing process, Celtic stands by its decision not to allocate any tickets for away supporters for the match on December 30th. Celtic will continue to focus on the importance of safety and matchday experience issues as we look to address reasonable allocations at Celtic Park and Ibrox from next year in a responsible manner.
So it seems that Celtic want the full stand or nothing, and Rangers are quite happy with the 700.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's where both parties are at the minute.
There is a situation here. And by the way, the one thing I would say to you is, when you tell the truth here, get ready for the backlash, because there's nothing worse. I got a lot of backlash from a lot of Hibs fans, Ruffy, because I merely highlighted, and obviously selective hearing in this issue is the big problem. I merely highlighted that the whole thing had started when Hibs decided to cut Rangers' allocation of away fans. And then obviously from there, Rangers then started the whole process themselves and stopped Celtic's fans. Now, there was an ongoing build-up to that where we were hearing constantly Rangers want to accommodate their season ticket holders more and more, and they don't want 7,000 Celtic fans over there. Obviously, you get the widos and the great noise ups of, by the way, you don't want 7,000 fans because you're seeing your team getting spanked all the time in these Old Firm games. That's the typical Glasgow noise up of it, right? But I was merely pointing out where it had started, how it gathered pace, and then when Rangers just eventually started this issue of blocking Celtic fans, this is where we're at. None of the two of them will budge now.
No, I don't think so. I think they've now thrown it out to their own fans, and the fans have bought into supporting the club. As you touched on it there, now if both fans are getting 7,000 extra supporters of their own in the ground, your own support will be happy with that. They'll go along with it. But from the neutral out there, we prefer, well, some of us prefer to see that 7,000 in the ground of the other support. But you're right, that statement that came out there was just covering each other's back, and using whatever for that subcommittee stuff was a load of rubbish.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I hope the subcommittee get a wedge for assembling for it, because a complete waste of time. Martin O'Neill and Alex McLeish, in our preview of the game, pointed out, both of them said they'd love to see the fans, 7,000 Rangers fans, 7,000 Celtic fans. It's fantastic. It's what made it special. I accept that there are poisoned elements who just continually spew their sectarian nonsense, but there was an element of colour. It had that cackling, cacophony of sound, and it was a real spectacle. Not great technically at times, but still, it was one of the derbies that people wanted to watch from afar.
Tremendous occasion when the away team have got the proper allocation for me. It's the away end. That's what it used to be. That's where the away fans go now. Now it's not obviously that anymore. But the atmosphere, walking out the tunnel onto the pitch, and you see we're at Ibrox, it's the sea of green, and then you've obviously got the blue right round, and Celtic. You've got so many of the Rangers section. It just makes the occasion, the atmosphere, everything about the day for the TV, watching it on TV, it just makes it so much better. And it's hopefully they can resolve it somehow.
Yeah.
I don't see the subcommittee solving it, but
No.
hopefully they get round the table and get it back to what it used to be.
Yeah. To quote an old Ali McCoist press conference, name names. Who's on that subcommittee? Do you remember that press conference? Tom, it's killed it.
No, as Peter, I said earlier, you want to see both away sets of fans at the game. It's one of the biggest derbies in the world, in my opinion. It's up there with the Barcelona's, Real Madrid. The River Boca Juniors game. Celtic Rangers is up there. It really is. But this has killed the fixture. People scoring away from home and there's no fans celebrating. Silence. It's not a great look. But Celtic are digging their heels in. They want a full allocation. Rangers don't want to give Celtic a full allocation. They're happy to take their 700, and they've got to come to some sort of compromise. But when that happens, I don't know. Hopefully, it does in the near future.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will happen short term. I think it would have to be a change in the boards at both clubs, or somebody sensible on the board eventually who tries to lead them out of the dark ages that we're in again, Ruffy. Actually, I never thought we'd actually go back the way it is as a country in certain decisions, but this is certainly one of them. Sad situation. Just quickly on, looking back over the two games midweek. Rangers get the win 2-0, and again, a few contentious decisions along the way, which we'll hear from Philippe Clement on as well. He certainly wasn't happy with some of the tackling, but again, Rangers able to throw down the gauntlet to the players, keep the momentum going, and this title race is very much on. They've cut it down to 2 points now, Ruffy.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Rangers supporters were more than happy with that. At one stage it looked as if it could have went to 11. And that's not the case now. I think we all agree, everybody has agreed, there's a title challenge there, and it's going to be exciting for everybody right up until the end. But yeah, Rangers are just grinding out results, just getting comfortable results. They're not, you know, under any pressure in most of the games they play. And if it's 2-0 or 1-0 or whatever, they're getting the goals at the right time. And the players, again, that are coming off the bench, or the guys that are stepping in for people who are injured, are coming up with the goods.
Yeah, but you don't want to lose players. And Philippe Clement, the Rangers boss, said it was just another situation where one of his players was kicked off the park.
It's another player who's kicked off the pitch. So I'm really frustrated about that, to be honest. And this is, for me, my main concern after this game also. Again, a player kicked off the pitch. So it's not sure that we can get him back before winter break.
Well, that's a blow.
Big blow. Big blow. That's probably with injury and suspension, that's the Rangers are probably the weakest. And you've seen that at the final. When they're putting different players in there, along with probably one of the best players in the last 5-6 games for Rangers is Lundstram. So it's a big blow if he is going to be out to the winter break. He's had a bit of everything and can really come into his own. It was a bad tackle, Peter. Yeah. I was at the game, and it was a lunge. He went in with intent. But it's football that happens, so they just need to hope that he gets back for the Old Firm game. Obviously, the manager's saying he's not going to. That's going to be a weak area for Rangers.
Can I just pick you up on something there, because I feel you've left yourself a wee bit open to people clamouring on your comment there. When you say he went in with intent, do you mean he went in to injure him?
No.
Aggressively. He went in aggressively.
He did. Well, he lunged, so he's went in aggressive. Any aggressive force is a red card, but he's missed the ball and he's caught him.
Yeah.
So it's a bad tackle.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that. Just on the basis that, you know, sometimes you can read a book like Roy Keane's and say, right, I was going to give it to Haaland. That's premeditated. Yeah. You know, but if you say he's going in there, with intent, which is I'm going to get in here and do him.
Yeah. I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah. I'm just saving you from a Christmas. Forgive me for being pedantic.
No.
I'm saving you from a Christmas nightmare. You know what you're like. Any chance of giving me the whole context of the question, Mr. Sensitive over here. Listen, at the end of the day, Rangers got the win, reduced it to 2, and the Clement, spark is continuing. They're buying into it.
Yes, I don't think they played particularly well during the week. I obviously just seen the highlights, but it was all about winning games. They've had a real tough schedule recently, Rangers, and it's just all about grinding out results. 1-0 for a long time, but I don't think St Johnstone even had a shot on goal. I think they were up the pitch. Rangers won the game, another clean sheet. Their defensive record this season is excellent, Rangers, particularly domestically, so they keep rolling on. They've got another tough game away to Motherwell before they play Celtic, but they could go into that, in real buoyant mood to have a chance to go above Celtic, which no one would have seen, 2 or 3 months ago. So, no, great result for Rangers.
The other game that I went up to, Pittodrie.
I watched it as well.
Pittodrie, by the way, is a stadium up in Aberdeen where Aberdeen play. It just gives you a chance for you guys if you ever go to these stadiums. Aberdeen against Livingston. The game was ranked rotten. At one point, Ruffy, I looked across and I saw Willie Miller, who's I think close to, he might be the same age as you, he might be 70 odds. I looked at him and I thought, Willie, you could still play now in that Aberdeen back line because it was terrible. It was absolutely dreadful, the game, and the only difference really was Miovski. He was a joy. His movement and his finishing was top draw, Ruffy.
If it's any consolation, the highlights were murder as well.
Yeah. Ruffy only thinks football lasts 7.5 minutes.
But you're right. I mean, everybody talks about his second goal, the header. How he could get that much power in that header going away for goal is frightening, but he is the star in their side just now, and I thought they made heavy weather. I think Livingston, Bruce Anderson had that shot over the top, that was one of the only chances they had, but they're getting the results now. That's all he's interested in. They're going away from home again at the weekend, and they just need to start winning to move up that league, because I think we all expect them to be a top 6 team.
Yeah, on the point of Miovski, I thought he was only a bit of, real sparkle in the game. And I did ask Barry Robson after the game about how difficult it's going to be holding on to him.
No, we'll just have to say today if he's not allowed to go. But Listen, there is a model is at the football club, and we've signed some good players, and there's a lot of interest in some of our other players, and because we're a good team when we're at it, and you can see, I think with Bojan and different types of players, how well they're performing well in big European games, and that's what people will be looking at as well, because that's where the club have been. So, but we want him to stay as long as he can, and listen, that's something that'll that's something that we want to keep him, but hopefully he'll be here for a good bit longer.
Well,
Keeping him in a job, Peter, let's be honest.
well, it's
Keeping him in a job.
He scored 14 goals, Tam.
Yes, and I watched the game, you were at the game, I watched the game, and Aberdeen were dreadful. The first half particularly, I thought Livingston, deserved to get something out of the game, but he was, as you said, he was the difference, 2 great finishes, but bar that, Aberdeen were devoid of anything, really, and he won them a game.
Yeah.
How much do you think he would cost?
I hope they can dig their heels in, but I think
$3 million plus.
I think it might take 2
End of
million.
next season?
I think it might take 2 million.
I think it might more
I
than
don't know
that,
his contract.
At the end of next season? Is that when his contract's up?
I think so. I'm not sure 100%, but I think it
He
would
was
take.
24. I'd be looking for $3 million plus. I think he's an international player as well. He scored goals in Europe. I think
I don't disagree.
He's been linked with a move to Celtic. Me personally, I'm just saying I think he's got better movement and he's a better finisher than O. A manager always looks and says, is he better than what I've got? Am I bringing someone in to improve the team, not the squad? Celtic fans are absolutely scunnered listening to this. He's one for the future. He is one that he'd start.
Him or Shankland?
I'd take him.
Miovski's younger as well. I'd take him, he's about 5 years younger as well, 6 years younger.
Staunch is the word you're looking for.
Big Shanks want to text message.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but
I get it. Miovski, like top striker for his age, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Celtic or moves on. But it'll be interesting to see how Aberdeen react to it with the right bid. That's why I was asking, how much money do you think?
Do you think you should put $1 million in just to test the waters?
They will. They will.
That's a jig
I know it's a jig one. I know.
Cut you there. He don't let you finish.
Listen to the two guys who want to control their own narrative. By the way. Oh, did I really say that, Ruffy? What's this all about?
I think they'll be experimenting down south. The money that they've got for the players they've lost, Aberdeen down south or abroad, they're not going to be messing about with 2 million. They're going to be thinking, well, we could get maybe 4 or 5 in the English Championship or something like that, if somebody's interested in them.
Yeah.
But you're right, Celtic will test the water. There's no doubt about it. They do. That's what Rangers and Celtic do. £1 million, they'll do it.
Yeah,
We add on.
I'll tell you what they'll do. I bet if Celtic are, I hold my hands up and say, I don't know if there is genuine interest in wanting to sign him. There's been that suggestion of being linked to him. Celtic will probably offer $1 million and say, and we'll give you these 2 players.
Yeah.
That's the type of thing that will happen. Aberdeen,
A short conversation.
might look and say, no, we want this, or no, make us an offer, or beat it. But I think he's a good player, good movement. I think he'd easily start for Celtic, and I was impressed with him in that game. If I was Aberdeen, if I was Barry Robson, goals are hard to come by. It could be they're 10th. We're not talking about Aberdeen sitting in third. They're 10th. If you lose 14 goals, Ruffy, you need to find somebody from somewhere else. But I think if I was Aberdeen, I'm saying, well, 3 million. 3 million might buy me a defence and a couple of midfielders because they've got no midfield. They are playing 30 and 40 yard passes, missing the midfield, and the midfielders, the distance between them and the back line at times is why they are getting found out.
No, the point you're making, Miovski is the top goal scorer, but that game I was at, Aberdeen Hibs, Miovski was the only boy that was going to score.
Yeah.
He had about 4 or 5 chances that he should have scored, but he was the only one that was faulting. It wasn't faulting to anybody else. It was him and nobody.
Yeah, I know, I
See,
remember.
the financial gain out of it then, for him, if Celtic go and pay the money, does he play instead of Kyogo?
See, to be honest with you, you would play the 2 of them. I don't know where he accommodates them, but you would play the 2 of them.
I think it'd be good competition for Kyogo, because I think Kyogo
Just dipped.
I don't think he's getting any pressure really on him.
Yeah.
I think proper quality player in there, maybe.
Yeah.
But he plays one striker, doesn't he?
Well, he needs to start playing two. You know, it's one of those situations. They are struggling right now to really ignite any kind of excitement in the Celtic fans. And I have to say, coming up, that's what's so great about the run-up here. There can be no slip-ups from either of them. And we look at the Premiership fixtures coming up, Tam. If you look at that card, there can't be any slip-ups before you get to the 30th. If Celtic were to lose the game against Rangers, all hell would let loose outside that stadium. Celtic, Livingston, Dundee, Aberdeen, Hearts, St Mirren, Kilmarnock, St Johnstone, Ross County, Hibs and Motherwell, Rangers. These are the games coming up.
Yeah, I don't think Celtic could have asked for a better fixture after coming off the back of 2 straight defeats. You know, Livingston at home, 8 straight defeats. They showed a little bit more during the week. I thought they played a little bit better during the week, but Green Brigade back in, you know, a bit more atmosphere at the club. Hopefully that's the club coming together. You know, there's been a lot of splits. The supporters, the manager, the fans. Hopefully that's the start of maybe coming together as a club. And they go and win that game against Livingston comfortably, and then they look ahead to, I think it's Dundee away on Boxing Day. And then Rangers. So you're right, no slip-ups for the top 2. There can't be any slip-ups going into that game for either club.
Celtic haven't won 3 games in a row in all competitions this season. Ruffy, Kyogo hasn't scored in the league for Celtic since that 6-0 win over Aberdeen on November 12th. Liam Scales was commenting on the situation at Celtic yesterday. He said sometimes we just expect it to happen for us without actually taking it by the horns and being aggressive. Sometimes we just expect it to happen if we show up. It's in our hands to turn it around. We know if we win our games, we can still be successful. It's a minor blip in the course of a season. It's not a complete disaster. Wise words from the young man.
Yeah, but they need to start winning games. You know, as you've touched on it, the Rangers game is a big one. I mean, we were even talking about, I think it was a couple of months ago, Rangers having to win every game up until that game. You know, and it's just amazing how things have changed now, because Celtic don't look as if they're dominating in just now. You know, so as Tam said, it's an ideal chance against Livingston. You know, they haven't produced any at all, but certain players in the Celtic team really need to step up because they really are off form. And usually you get 1 or 2 off form, but you don't 4 or 5 at an Old Firm. It's not good news.
That last quote there from Liam's just a little bit worrying. I want you to tell Lee about the quote from Ian Andrews after an Old Firm game or before it, when he was getting on the bus ahead of that big game where Rangers spanked him 5-1.
It was the first game, and I said I was wishing them all the best and hope everything goes all right. And his famous words were, "I don't know what all the fuss is about."
That before the game.
he knew what all the fuss is about at 4:45. And I was just reading Liam Scales' line there. It's not a complete disaster. The complete disaster is just around the corner. If you lose to Rangers, it's an absolute catastrophe at times. Anyway, the good news, I think, for the Green Brigade is they are now allowed back in. They've apparently missed 13 games. I'd love to see which 13 games that they missed, because they've been in full voice with the banners at away games.
Yeah, they've probably been getting the games. Listen, it's pretty easy to get tickets, I suppose. But listen, I think that in terms of the atmosphere at Parkhead, you know, I was at the Celtic Hibs game and Celtic won 4-1. Thought the atmosphere was poor. You know, that corner was empty. They need the fans. The club needs to come together. It's a real critical point in the season now where you can't have infighting, you know, amongst supporters and players and management. You need to come together as a club, and this is a first step of doing that.
Is it too much? Is it too much for the Green Brigade just to listen to what the board are sensibly saying?
I think they should now, Peter. They're getting back in.
The board just say, come and support the team.
Yep.
That's what it's about.
Yep. That's what it should always be about, Peter. And as I said, they've got a couple of big games coming up at Parkhead, particularly one against Rangers, and they need the supporters behind them. So, you know, let's just hope they behave themselves and they can stay in, because there's no doubt about it. Celtic, as a club, the players, they need the Green Brigade in there for the atmosphere in the stadium, because the couple of games I've been in, but they've not been there. It's not been the same.
Livingston, 2 wins from 17 games, 4 goals in the last 10. It's been a long time. October, the last time they won a game. David Martindale, the Livingston boss, reckons this could be the biggest event for him ever, and his biggest achievement if he could somehow keep Livingston in the Premier League.
The budget got cut from the previous season. We've got the lowest budget we've ever had in the Premier League. That's had a knock-on effect with the recruitment. I think I said at the start of the year, it's going to be my most difficult year in the Premier League, and I'll sit here and I'll tell you right now, this will be my biggest achievement in my sporting career if I can keep Livingston in the Premier League this year. And I'm taking top sixes out of that, I'm taking cup final out of that. This will be my biggest sporting achievement.
Well, I have to say, I saw some signs of some good football from Livy at times, but just, I don't know if they've got enough in reserve to get out of this.
No, I don't think they've got much in reserve. Of quality, they've obviously got players there, but not the quality that's going to come in and make the team better. And the biggest player is, for me, is the big boy Nubly, who we were all talking about last year. Although he wasn't a prolific goal scorer, but him and Bruce Anderson were a handful, but it's not been the case this year. I don't know why the big boy Nubly's maybe been affected by all that talk about moving him on and putting money on his head and all that, but he's certainly not the player he was last year. Defensively, they're losing goals, but I think he's right in everything he said. Is that the clip for the beginning of the season that you played in Martindale there?
No.
About budget and everything.
No, by the way,
Just keep throwing the same one out.
Oliver Twist, he's just got to come out one day with a wee bowl, isn't he?
No, I have to say, I mean, I'm a big fan, as you know, of David. I really like him, and I wish him every success. I hope he can get out of it. But it was a funny moment when he came into the press room at the end of the Aberdeen game, and in his own inimitable style, said to me, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm just here in case you get the sack. I'm just following you around now." You could see the funny side of it, but he's got a tough job. How do you see it going, Ruffy?
I'm hoping they're organised enough not to get a scalping. I think I've went for 3-0, but he can't afford a 5, a 6 or a 7.
Okay, I've got him 3-0.
I think it'll be 4 or 5.
4-0.
Okay, Motherwell against Rangers. Rangers looking to go 16 games unbeaten. What a great run. The manager deserves great credit.
He does. Tremendous credit. The way he's changed the mentality, the culture, everything that was run about in the club, in the dressing room. Gave the players confidence, gave the team confidence. For the start, the stands and the players have got that connection again. Everything seems to be going really well for the Rangers' perspective. They've got the first trophy of the season, the first trophy for them in a while. The manager's first trophy up here. They just need. I think Lundstram is the key, and he's going to be missing for certainly the Motherwell game. So.
Danilo, Cifuentes, Raskin, Jack, Lawrence, Roof.
The middle
Lundstram.
of the pitch, though, is the one for me. That's where games are won and lost. So yes, I think the manager deserves a lot of credit. I think it's going to be a really difficult game, but as Walter Smith used to say, the Old Firm games always take care of themselves. It's the game before it and the game after it that is the most important thing.
Yeah, I don't think Roof would be able to play in our 6-a-side game. He could probably get injured in the warm-up. What do you think? He's not the luckiest boy, is he?
So unlucky. It's
just outrageous.
He gets an important goal, then it's a muscle injury, I think.
It's mental.
Said, after the game, what can you do? It's not as if he's...
If he could get 5 games in a row, he's a goal scorer, isn't he?
Yep, top player, and we've seen that when he's had his run of games. He's just unlucky, I suppose.
Sam, I wouldn't even let him use a hairdryer. It's a real threat to him.
No.
He's the unluckiest guy.
He has. He's picked up all the injuries, and I can see some of the Rangers fans starting to get on his case. Should get rid of him and all that, and he's injured too much. But I don't think it's a time to slate Roof.
Okay, big apologies to everyone who was enjoying the programme over the year. We had gone maybe 3 or 4 programmes without Tam. He's happy with it. But anyway, it's against the Motherwell side. The chairman, Jim McMahon, has announced he's stepping down. He's launching a fundraising initiative in the new year. And he says the club, which is owned by the Well Society Group, needs significant investment. The minute I saw him standing down, I thought to myself, you know, Motherwell clearly at this point, you know, must be looking and thinking, where are they going to get the money? See all the supporters things about fan-owned groups, that's all well and good. The fans do spend their money, they deserve great credit. If you want to progress, you need to have a benefactor, or you need to have a group of people with substantial money.
Bigger club like Hearts, bigger support.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Which that model's actually working really well at Hearts, isn't it? Motherwell, they need investment. We know the club, obviously.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's somebody out there, or the fans start putting in a lot more than what they are putting in, but it's just the way the world now, everything.
People are struggling, Lee.
Cost of living. So they need investment. Absolutely need investment.
Stuart Kettlewell.
What club it is, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great club, and I really would love to see someone, a benefactor, someone come in. As every club, you want to see you know, a bit of money in it, especially Motherwell. It's such a great club. Stuart Kettlewell said, you know, no surprise, this is not a knee-jerk reaction. He's been witness to what was going to come in the last few months.
This isn't a knee-jerk reaction. It's probably something that everyone has kind of seen may have been coming for a period of time, especially when we look at the chief executive position. You know, it's not quite been a year, but it's been over that. And I can tell you that certainly Derek's not far from neglected his duties in doing that. It's been in a different version from what Alan had done it before. But again, I think that we start to create our own narratives, and we start to sort of have this upheaval of, you know, there's mass change here or whatever. I can genuinely stress this from my point of view in the conversations that I've had with the guys at the top of the tree here, that this has only been done to try and see if we can move forward.
Well, if that's been done to see if they can move forward, they must be looking for someone else to come in with money, and I hope they get it. Great club, 14 without a win. Are they going to go 15 against Rangers?
Yeah, I think they will, Peter. I think that a lot of those games have been draws, scrambled draws, you know, and they got one last. I think they missed a penalty. Mark O'Hara missed a penalty. They got a draw against St Mirren. I think they'll give Rangers a game, run for their money. They always do. But Rangers are in good form at the minute. They're confident. You know, they're churning out wins even if they're not playing well. Clement yet to taste defeat. So no, I think Rangers will win this, and I think they'll win it comfortably. Actually, I'm going to go for 3-0 to Rangers.
Okay, Hearts against St Mirren. Hearts sitting third ahead of St Mirren, only in goal difference. So this for me is a cracking game to look forward to. Hearts obviously buoyant after their 2-0 win over Celtic.
Yep, tremendous result. Gives the players a bit of confidence to go to Celtic Park and win in the style that they won. It's a big game. I think they'll be looking. They can start a little gap going in third place to fourth if they win this game. St Mirren will be difficult, but I can see Hearts winning this comfortably, to be brutally honest.
Do you think the Hearts fans are watching the last few games of Lawrence Shanklin?
I don't know, because it'll be up to the board. I think the situation is Hearts are pretty cash rich. There's a lot of money in the boardroom, so they won't sell them short. But it'll all come down to Lawrence Shanklin as well, and that's why I think if another team, let's say, puts an offer in and Lawrence, his head's turned, it might put them in a difficult situation.
Yeah, I wonder what that team would be.
I don't know.
Yeah,
What it would be.
It always helps if it's always helps if it's a team you support. Isn't it, Ruffy?
But that's what I mean, with his head getting turned,
yeah.
so it could change the dynamic.
Yeah. Okay. Hearts against St Mirren. Who's winning, Ruffy?
2-0 Hearts.
2-0 Hearts.
Okay, I think we're all agreed on that one, that Hearts can get the win at home. Dundee against Aberdeen. When I was up in Aberdeen, I was talking to a few of the journalists up there, the guys who follow Aberdeen on a regular basis. I was thinking, well, surely no, you've got that win, just keep winning. You're going to Dundee and they're thinking, oh no, some of them said to us, Dundee, bogey team for us. And I'm thinking,
I think it's bogey team with some of the results. You've expected Aberdeen to go there and win, and they haven't. You know, so that's always in the back of your mind. But you would like to think that the result they got there, I know it was only Livingston, but the confidence should be there, and with Miovski there, you're guaranteed a goal nearly every second game. So I think you've got to go there confident. I think it'll be really, really tight. But I think I've stuck my neck out in Aberdeen 2-1.
Yeah. Tony Docherty's been a welcome addition as a manager, hasn't he?
He has. He's obviously been in the shadow of Derek McInnes most of his career. You know, he's went and followed Derek everywhere he's been as a number 2. I thought it was a bit surprising when he got the job, but you know, he must have been wanting to be his own man at some point, and a great job at Dundee. You know, a team that just get promoted. So doing really well. Him and Stuart Taylor together up there, good pairing. And if they win, I think they go into the top 6. So it's been a great start to the season. One of the best starts to a Premier League season, I think, I read the other day, since the times of Claudio Caniggia at Dundee. So they've started really, really well. This will be a tough game for them. Obviously Aberdeen, I think, are going to start to click now. They're only playing 1 game a week out of Europe. So I think that Aberdeen will win it, but I think that Dundee will score. So I'm going to go for 2-1 narrowly to Aberdeen.
I think it might be a draw.
Dundee have been brilliant this season, but Aberdeen need to win. Aberdeen need to go maximum points all the way to the winter break for me.
I said that to him in midweek. 4 games you've got, and he's like, he wasn't biting.
They've got to.
Yeah.
For me, they've got to. So I'm going to go for 2-0 to Aberdeen.
Okay, now think about this one carefully, Ruffy. It's Ross County against Hibs. Derek Adams apologised to his players for saying Morecambe were 100 times better, but he stand by his comments about the shocking standard of Scottish football, which I think he's right.
Well, as you've said, you see more games, more 90 minutes than us, so you'd be a better judgment. But I can see where he's coming from. I watched again some of that game, and the football wasn't that good. But he's openly admitted, you know, it was after the game, and he maybe said things he shouldn't have said. And you can let him away with that one. But it depends what kind of individuals he's got in his team. You know, whether they take it on board that it's a kick up the backside for them to be better, or they go the other way and go, oh, well, we don't want to play for this guy. You know, it depends what kind of dressing room he's got of players at the club at the moment.
Okay, what do you think?
I think that in terms of the result, I think Ross County have been strong at home. Obviously, a kick in the teeth last week against Dundee, losing the goal in the last minute, which led to his outburst. Hibs, they're very Jekyll and Hyde at the minute, Peter. One week, I think, they're turning the corner, they look good, and then they go to St Johnstone last week. I watched that game, they were dreadful. Joe Neal comes back into the team, which is massive. I think they missed him badly against St Johnstone. So I think Hibs might just narrowly nick it 2-1. But that's a bit tight game. But I think Hibs need to win it to go into that derby game with a bit of confidence, because they were brutal last week.
Do you think it could change the landscape of Scottish football if the SPFL do allow Bill Foley to get the chance to invest money in Hibernian?
Yeah, not only for Hibs, Peter, I think for other clubs as well. I think for Dundee have been rumoured to be in some sort of partnership maybe with Burnley, who have got American owners as well. So I think it would give clubs an opportunity to try and get closer to Celtic Rangers, and that's what you're wanting. You want a more competitive league, and it would give Hibs the upper hand in trying to get that 3rd place every year. Because if Hibs finish 3rd every year, you know, the way the coefficient is at the minute, they're guaranteed £5-6 million. So they're an attractive proposition to potential investors, and I think that's why Bill Foley's come in. He's looking at it and going, good setup, good training ground, you know, a chance to get that 3rd place every year, could get my money back. So no, I think it's going to, but the money's got to be spent wisely, Peter. They're going to, there's rumoured to be building a full indoor setup, you know, full pitch indoors, undercover, which is massive for the whole youth setup at Hibs as well. So no, I think it can only be good for Hibs.
To use the Walter Smith statement, it's crucial they win this game before the derby.
Yes, 100%. I think it'll be tight, but I think Hibs will just have too much top end of the pitch, bit of pace, and it sets them up nicely going into the derby. Okay,
1-0 for me, Ruffy, you?
I thought David Marshall was excellent midweek, and that's a bad sign for me, so I'm going to go 1 each.
2-1 Hibs.
Okay, Kelly St Johnstone. Kelly, they're 5th, 2 points off 3rd place, and of course, let's not forget, 2-1 win over Celtic, 0-0 draw against Livy. Might have been disappointing for them, but can they go up against St Johnstone and get maximum points?
Yeah, I think they can at home. You know, I think they've got a couple of goals in them. I still think St Johnstone have improved. I've said this all along. I think St Johnstone have only got 1 goal in them. So I don't think that's going to be enough, particularly with Kilmarnock at home. So I've went Kilmarnock 2-1.
Okay.
2-0 Kilmarnock.
2-1 Kilmarnock.
Okay, go Kelly as well. Just one little negative. Dayang Jayasimi suffered some racist abuse. I think the Police Scotland are going to be investigating it. I just wish we could move on in society, but unfortunately, this is just something that players are going to have to, constantly highlight. Don't put up with it. Just constantly highlight it and don't let them away with it.
Yeah, listen, it's been happening for years, Peter, since the inception of social media. People can just go directly to players now or managers and say what they want. Completely out of order. Hopefully catch the person and he gets done for it. But there's no time for that at all in any sport.
We're approaching, obviously, the tail end of the year. We hope you've enjoyed a lot of our programmes. Certainly, there's a Martin O'Neill and an Alex McLeish one-to-one coming up. The two of them got together to preview the Old Firm game. I really do hope you can watch that on our YouTube channel. You'll certainly enjoy it. There's lots more content to come in the new year, and of course, new faces here and there, and hopefully some of the old well-kent faces still with us as well. Just let's have a look at that table, Ruffy, as we approach the end of the season, end of the year, I beg your pardon. Livingston at the bottom, Celtic narrowly at the top, but we have a title race at the top and we don't know who's going down at the bottom. That's where I think Neil Doncaster will say why this league is so successful at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's some teams up there, particularly Dundee and Kilmarnock. You wouldn't have imagined, St Mirren, you wouldn't have imagined at this stage of the season. I think Livingston are done. So you're looking at who above them, St Johnstone, Ross County, Motherwell could be the candidates, because I think Aberdeen and Dundee have got enough points in the bag as Hibs and Kilmarnock and St Mirren have.
I hate to say this, Lee, but I fear for Motherwell.
So they are. So they are with the investment stuff coming out. Look at Livingston, they've had it all season. They've not been able to get a tune on the pitch. I think Motherwell need to start picking up points.
Wins need to start winning.
Yeah. If I won the lottery, maybe £161 million, bearing in mind football clubs, I wouldn't invest in any of them. I'd take us all to Barbados and we'd just go and get absolutely leathered. I just thought I'd say that as a Christmas wish, Ruffy.
I'd be champing your door as soon as I heard you'd won it.
just in case you thought I was going to say I'd invest in Motherwell. The last thing I would do is invest in a football club. You'd be as well putting tenors in a fire. But nevertheless, I hope they do find an investor. And of course, as Tam said, for so many clubs, getting money, getting investment, getting the chance to close the gap in Celtic and Rangers is what we all wish. We want a more competitive league. Here's a predictor talking about leagues. We've had a few shockers along the way trying to predict the erratic nature of Scottish football. Here's how it looks in the predictor, guys. Ruffy, you're still out in front. Alison's up there now behind you. Tam, I'm just dropping. It's outrageous what's happening. I'm so far off it. Adam and Patrick, our reporters, in the mix as well now. It's getting a bit scary.
I'm coming as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee, you're
1690 steaming up that board.
Honestly, I'm not far behind.
He's not far behind you, by the way.
That's 5 weeks I missed.
Exactly. So I think you're doing well as well, Lee. But as I think Gene Kelly once said, who was a former Hollywood movie star, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's as simple as that. Ruffy, yet another fantastic season for us. Thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing. We're going to have obviously an immediate reaction right after the Old Firm game. And our reporters are going to be out at the games right across the whole of the festive period. So across social media on PLZ Soccer, everybody's going to get their fill of all the information in Scottish football. We will be back in the new year after the winter break. This is our final football show of the campaign. Of course, we'll do the full-time reaction to the Old Firm game, but it's been a good year.
It's been great. Obviously the format changed a wee bit. I think we all bump into people who watch the show, whether it's in a golf course or shopping or whatever. Haven't heard a bad word about any of the shows that we're doing, which is really encouraging. And it's been great viewing. Yeah, and always good when you make a new signing along the way, which is fantastic. I have to say,
probably like Dessers.
Yeah,
he's at the start I thought, But he's slowly but surely he's coming on again. Now he's actually hitting his peak form when we're having a break.
Yeah.
So he's been good, aye.
And he's had an opinion as well, which I think is good. And
he has. He's come out his shell.
Yeah,
He's definitely come out his shell, especially with the £1 million for Shankland. That one doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's maybe only another 3 weeks away from a call from someone just to rein him in. But he's been brilliant for us, of course. The only thing I would say to you as we go into 2024, whatever you do, don't say I really like PLZ. I'm going to stay loyal and kiss the badge, because that's a recipe for disaster, isn't it, Tom?
They end up going somewhere else.
Exactly. Or they're shoved out the door. Thank you to all our pundits working on the programme, and of course thank you to our backroom team at PLZ Soccer, who've been an absolute delight. I hope you've enjoyed all the content. There's more to come in the new year. I think we've got lots of other programmes which I think you might like along the way. Don't forget to download the app if you can. If you get a chance, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can listen in the podcast. You can watch all the content from the Women's Football Show, the Journos, the Football Show, Straight Talk with myself, and of course all our reporters out at the grounds on our social media as well. So from everyone at PLZ Soccer, have a great Christmas. Have a brilliant new year. Spare a thought for family and friends as well. We wish you the very best, and of course spare a thought for some that you wish you could still spend some time with. I'd like to dedicate today's show to a friend and a teammate, Thomas McNaughton, who sadly passed away in the last few days. He was one of those guys who made you feel better in his company, and certainly lucky to have him as a friend. He will be greatly missed by so many people. So at this time of year, from everyone in PLZ Soccer, have a great Christmas and thank you for your support. Thank you for listening and watching.